Ever wondered why it's so much harder to restrict Iran's energy shipments compared to Today, we're diving deep into that very question. We'll be looking at why these two situations, often compared by analysts, are fundamentally different. This isn't about taking sides or making predictions. It's a calm, neutral analysis of capability, geography, and strategy. We're simply unmasking the facts to understand the bigger picture. Let's start with Iran. This isn't about looking for a fight. It's about capacity and influence in its own backyard. There are three key factors analysts often highlight. First, regional control. Iran has the ability to closely monitor and influence activity in the waterways right on its doorstep, especially the routes crucial for its own energy exports. Think of it as having a home field advantage. Second, market impact. These same waterways are absolute lifelines for global energy movement. Any disruption, or even just the threat of one, sends ripples of concern through international markets and among global partners. This gives Iran a level of indirect leverage that's hard to ignore. And third, response capacity. Analysts note that Iran has a much broader set of tools it can use to respond to any pressure. This means that any attempt by outside actors to restrict its exports would require a huge amount of extra planning and defensive measures. In short, Iran operates in a region where its maritime presence carries serious weight, and that changes the entire dynamic. Now, let's shift our focus to Venezuela. The situation there is worlds apart. According to multiple sources, Venezuela operates in what could be called a more permissive maritime environment, especially when it comes to external pressure. First off, there's limited maritime resistance. The United States has already shown it can effectively monitor and restrict sanctioned oil shipments, leaving Venezuelan ports with very little interference. This isn't a hypothetical. It's something that has been actively demonstrated. Second, there's a level of established control. Analysts describe the situation as one where the U.S. has successfully maintained oversight of Venezuela's energy flows, which directly limits the revenue the country can generate from its oil, because this approach has worked with minimal pushback. Some experts now view it as a potential model that could be considered for other situations, though they caution it's not a one-size-fits-all template. The key takeaway here is that Venezuela's maritime capacity is far smaller, and its geographical location makes it much easier for other naval powers to monitor and control shipping lanes. So, why can't you just copy and paste the Venezuelan model and apply it to Iran? Even though the Venezuelan approach is often referenced in discussions, analysts are quick to stress that trying the same thing with Iran would be exponentially more complex and risky. Let's break down why. As we've already mentioned, Iran has a much stronger regional presence. It's not just about having ships, it's about integrating them into a broader strategy within a critical geographical area. Iran also possesses more advanced maritime and missile systems, which adds another layer of deterrence and complexity for anyone trying to operate nearby. Furthermore, the global economic stakes are much, much higher. The waterways near Iran are vital to the world's economy, and any instability there would have far-reaching consequences that would affect everyone. Because of all these factors, analysts agree that any attempt to restrict Iran's exports would require a massive concentration of resources and international presence, far exceeding what was needed in the Caribbean with Venezuela. It's simply not a comparable scenario. So what's the strategic goal behind even making this comparison? It's not really about planning identical actions. Instead, it's about understanding how economic pressure and maritime influence work differently, depending on a nation's geography and capabilities. The broader aim of these pressure campaigns, as described by analysts, is to limit a country's revenue, increase internal pressure, and hopefully encourage political or economic shifts, all while avoiding a long-term military commitment or large-scale operation. This mirrors the stabilize, recover, transition approach that was talked about in the context of Venezuela. However, applying that same thinking to Iran requires a whole new level of strategic planning due to the vastly different and more complex realities on the ground and at sea. The comparison serves as a powerful case study in the limits of power and the importance of geography in modern geopolitics. And that's our breakdown for today. We took a complicated geopolitical comparison and turned it into clear, calm, and accessible analysis. No hype, no speculation, just the context you need to understand the world a little better. Thanks for watching, and if you found this helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives. See you next time.